Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improve.
Hey, fellows. It's the first snap of another season.
Nerds roll. Nerds roll.
Oh, my glasses are broken.
Surprise me. My pocket is protected. Surprise me.
I'm a super nerd.
Surprise me.
Hey. Excelsior.
I am a super nerd.
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Starring Andy.
I am a former entertainment journalist.
The Star Spangled Band with a plan.
TBJ.
Welcome, congratulations. You did dirt. Ta-da. I got no shame. I am what I like to call a surprise nerd.
Art Star.
I am not an incel. Dark Star.
He's the nerd Gotham City deserves.
And yours truly, call me Joe.
Joe Verse.
Welcome to the Nerd Skool Podcast. Sith Lord Art Star, can I please have an autograph?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, why did you let him do
This is
that?
the best
Come on.
podcast on the face of the planet. No podcast is better than this one.
Love it. I love it.
We can use that.
Thank you.
Good job, Henry J.
I forgot to tell him to
You
say
probably just
yes.
you
Awesome.
probably made Art Star's month. Tell him you
You
probably
see,
made
look
Art
at this.
Star's month.
He's got to make smile. You have your first.
Lord.
You have your first
Yeah.
super fan, Art Star. All right, he's got to go back and do
bless
whatever.
you.
Dark Side.
Well,
No welcoming
man.
anyone to the dark side.
We welcome anyone. We welcome anyone. We're all inclusive.
He's a big
Are
Are
Art.
you though? Is it?
In my regime, we all inclusive.
All right, he's a big Art Star fan.
'Cause
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Episode 5.
Episode 5.
Episode
5 of
Sec-
6. There's one more
second
left.
to last episode.
Right?
Yeah,
The penultimate.
and it's getting
Penultimate.
so good. It's getting so
Yeah,
There's a
it
good.
was.
lot. They gotta pack
It was.
into that last damn episode.
They're
'cause
gonna
I
have
was
to-
like,
I don't even- I don't want it
need
to end.
answers.
I don't want it
Need
to end.
answers.
Yeah, Art Star
Yeah.
left a whole bunch of Marco Polos about being upset. He does not want it to end. He said he
I don't want
wants.
it to end.
He desperately wants a season 2 of Falcon and Winter
A season
Soldier.
2. Right.
But would it be, with the season 2, well, depending on what happens in the next episode, would season 2, if it's still called the Falcon and Winter Soldier, would it be Joaquin Torres as the Falcon?
No.
And
I want
he's-
Bucky and Sam. Bucky and Sam. We
Yeah.
can
we
start
could
the Bucky
retitle
and
the show
Sam
Sam
show.
and Bucky.
Right.
Or
the
Captain
new,
Bucky.
the two brothers show. I love that this episode gave them time to bond in two different ways. They bonded in their fight against John Walker, and then they bonded just doing like mundane things to help each other. And I was
Right.
like, what a way to have two people bond and not at the adrenaline filled level. Like simple, I still care for you, you're my homie, but they played it off cute like, I mean, we're not really partners. I mean, we're just two guys, that's all, right?
Right.
But
Right. 2 dudes. Yeah.
you could tell it was a nice way of bonding that didn't just happen in the fight. It wasn't just, hey, we fought this one guy. It lasted after the fight, and I was like, oh.
Even playing with the shield, it was almost like 2
Right?
dudes just like playing catch, like just throwing a football around. Like, yeah, let's just toss this shield, you know?
Yeah, but I think that's what I feel you are. I hope that Disney is watching the reactions to this and is in the works for season 2, because I feel like it's just a good buddy show
Yeah.
for those two.
And it all
like
depends
even-
on how things shake out in the last episode. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
he might not, it looks pretty much like he's going to be Captain America full on.
Yep.
But even if he does become Captain America, it's one of those things like, there are shows where we'll get a title for the show and they'll do like 8 or 9 seasons, but then 4th season they're not still doing what they started doing when they was titled a certain thing. So it could still be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They might not be Falcon and Bucky will still be Winter Soldier, but like Sam might not be Falcon, but the premise will still be there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Didn't you
So,
guys say?
we're not-
Didn't you guys say though? Never mind. I shouldn't even ask this question. Damn it! Didn't you say that he's still He's still Falcon.
He still has the wings. He still does the flying and stuff.
But his name isn't
just that
Falcon.
he's Captain America.
He goes by Captain America. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I love what I like TVJ when you were saying we got the friendship bonding thing. Like, I loved all the montages. The montages were the best. I love montages, number one. Yeah. I love a good montage. Adding the music and them doing stuff and, tightening bolts. That's all you have to do to fix a boat is just tighten bolts over and over and over again.
Right.
And then,
every once in a while you have to try to rip something up and then Bucky comes over and rips it up super easy.
Those are great.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea that Sam doesn't ever seem to know what he's doing. He's like, I'm going to fix that boat, and he doesn't know how to fix a boat.
Right. And his sister's like, I told you to leave it alone.
Yeah. And then Bucky doesn't really know how to fix a boat either. Like, they both get up early in the morning and try to take apart.
But they're basically being dudes. Sometimes dudes I can fix it, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I take it apart.
That's what I do.
But it's also
all the time.
It's a good visual that they're like, here are these superheroes who are not that good at other things. They can save your life. I got your life, but don't ask me to fix your boat.
Yeah. I'm just good at being super.
Yes.
Right.
So I love all that. And I love, like what Art said, when they're playing, it's like guys throwing a football around the backyard. My favorite moments I'm finding, and while I was watching Avengers, the same thing. Like, I love those downtime moments, like when they're arguing on in that ship, when they're arguing about just whatever, and when they're talking about stuff that's not superhero related, like just goofy shit. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Like it's
that's absolutely those are the character moments. They have those in comics as well. Like it's the dialogue between characters. It's how characters bounce off each other, where their conversations go. It's not always about slam bang, look at that cool laser, whatever the hell. That's why comic books go so long, is because people are invested in these characters because they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
They're the first Avengers, Iron Man bouncing off of everybody, calling Point Break, that guy's playing Galaga. How does Nick Fury even pilot this thing?
Yeah, Point Break. When he calls him Point Break, I love it. Those are so great. Man. Yeah. So those things, and those, that bit where they were like, it's funny, that whole bit that Art brought up on our kind of private conversation he was talking about, and you guys both a little bit mentioned it, that when they're talking about, well, we're both friends of a friend, so what are we? Are we friends? Or are we just two guys? And that's a funny.
And they're like, nah, never that. Yeah.
It's like Seinfeld kind of questioning. It's like, is that what are we? Are we whatever? And I'll say my best friend throughout life has been we were both like henchmen of another guy. Like a guy who was a leader. We were both best friends of this other. We both thought we were this other guy's best friend, and we were like his lackeys. And then he moved away, so it was like, well, I guess it's us. And then we became best friends, and we still are. He's a fan of the podcast. He's the one I always send you, Art, his feedback. The guy in a kilt that's always sitting in the dark.
Shout out to Steve Bishop.
Yeah, Steve Bishop. Shout out to Steve Bishop.
Hell yeah. But that's part of why the serialized, the whole comic format has gone on so long. Like the monthly adventures. We write a new thing, everything. It's like characters bounce off each other. And it's a lot of the downtime, the dialogue, the low-key stuff, the character building that lends itself to ongoing comic book series, and B, to TV series like this, rather than cramming everything into a movie and trying to figure out where you can fit that stuff in. Let them have series. I'd be fine. I'd be fine, probably, if they sort of de-emphasized the movies and went on to just give everybody what
if we're spoiled by this, and when we finally see Black Widow, we'd be like, man, I wish this was a series. It's going to be like a 2.5 hour movie probably, and I'm like, I feel like I want more. I want a series now. Marvel needs to serialize everything now. Just because.
Just think about all the things they can do. I mean, you guys keep telling me about all these. It seems like there's an endless.
They've got so many shows coming. Yeah.
Yeah, and there can even be more. I mean, imagine the ones that could be in the works that we don't even know about. Right. Although Tiffany,
that's very true.
Hopefully, Tiffany will get in.
If someone just gets me in on a Marvel tour, I'll find a way to hang out and get some inside secrets.
I mean, if we keep doing this podcast, eventually we could take the Stan Lee part. They'll just have the Nerd School podcast in the background of one of these.
We can just pop up in different episodes at the diner.
Right.
The voting dot
Right.
or there's a shot of Art Star walking down the street saying something witty.
Speaking of Black Widow, you brought up the Black Widow. There's a cameo, a very unexpected cameo in this show that apparently was supposed to, like, the first time we see her was supposed to be in the Black Widow movie, like 2 years ago at this point. Or last year, I guess. So we'll probably see her again in the Black Widow movie in
I was going to say, speaking of Black Widow and Seinfeld, because he said something about Seinfeld earlier.
Yeah, that does bring them both. Yeah, so this is that's what I wanted to ask you next. Tell me all about this because I don't know. Elaine Benez. I was shocked that when she showed up. Of course, I don't know who she even is or what this is, but did anybody know this was happening?
Before Andy dive into his thing real quick.
Yeah.
Her showing up in this and the character that she's playing, the character was also playing in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Was it?
And
I tried to find that.
And she played. She wasn't her, but the character's name was Ida. But she was in a part of the framework. The chick in the framework, she was Madam Hydra.
Okay.
So
right,
because
that's a little different.
So introducing her as they haven't called her Madam Hydra yet, but like introducing her, I think is another one of those things like out of the Darkhold where they're getting rid of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Madam Hydra is a title. There's been several different Madam Hydras, so I don't think this is the same. I mean, Ida from the framework was like a life model decoy come to life.
Right.
So this
you don't think it's the same?
Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine is her full name, and she is a whole separate character from back in. She started in 1967, created by the legendary Nick Fury storyteller Jim Steranko, who is that guy is a character all himself.
How do you
I need to look this up.
How do you spell Steranko?
Steranko.
Okay.
One of the reasons I kind of connected it is because she's also a part. Madam Hydra. Well, Fontaine is supposed to also be a part of Leviathan, which we get introduced to in Agent Carter, which is kind of sort of a spinoff of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I'm playing 1 degree of separation. Yeah. So, again, Marvel likes to fuck us. I'm just saying.
This is Art Star's big CIA board where he's drawing red strings between points on the map.
I'm here for that.
I'm not saying there's no connection. I'm just saying I don't think this is the same character.
Okay.
Because she was like an Italian, royalty, sort of like a countess in Italy, who was basically, I guess the high-profile socialite, but then her parents got killed, and then that sort of sobered her up, and she eventually became a longtime agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and also had a actual romance with the original, David Hasselhoff-style Nick Fury.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And she was actually in that David Hasselhoff movie, the Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And that's the Val
she was played by Lisa Rinna, who used to be on
Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, I think she was. And then she was also on she's married to Harry
Hamlin.
Hamlin.
Days of Our Lives.
She had a talk show. She's married to Harry Hamlin, whose birthday is in 1951. Harry Hamlin's father is an aeronautical engineer, and his mother was a socialite, Bernice.
Okay.
That is very random information you have.
I sense that perhaps you looked that up for American Timelines at some point on his birthday.
Just last week's episode, his birthday was in October of 1951. And so he also went to this notable alumni of his school, his high school he went to. He went to the same school as the guy who made Yingling beer. And the Trump's kids went to the same school as Harry Hamlin.
Ew.
Yeah, it's gross.
That's pretty gross.
That's interesting.
But anyway,
that's on.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Back to the Countess.
I didn't realize he was married to Lisa Rinna, though. Are you sure that's correct?
They've been married a long time. Yeah, they've been married in it a long time.
All right.
So yeah, so she had a long time. Like she's in Shield-related comics, she's been sort of a paramour of the original Nick Fury for a long time, and then only relatively recently, in like a 2009 comic book series called Secret Warriors, which was a bunch of like tales of the original Nick Fury, she sort of became revealed as Madam Hydra, who was like basically leading Hydra.
Really?
But
so she
doesn't have to become that.
She's a supervillain?
Only recently. Normally she's been, like a dashing international spy lady who's got a pretty notorious sort of beehive, not quite Bride of Frankenstein hairdo, but and she's also played as super sexy and all that. And there's a whole sequence in back in the day where they had this. Jim Steranko kind of wrote this story where the two of them got it on, and it got censored by the Comics Code Authority, which was a thing there. So they had to change some panels around it. So
really? The comics were too dirty?
Yeah, John Romito Sr. was the artist.
Because she was hooking up with Fury?
Yeah, like somehow the way they laid it out was a little too sexy for the Comic Code Authority, so they censored it back.
Oh my gosh! So
can't have your kids sing that.
So is there?
Is
this? Would these be like collector's items? These comics, or
I don't know. I mean, like any time it's been reprinted, they've kind of outgrown that whole thing. And I mean, it wasn't really anything graphic. It was just
it's just back in that time.
Back in that time, everything was shocking and graphic. Yeah.
Right.
Listen, we're in 2021. There's a lot of things that are put up visually that don't get dinged. I think that would be fun.
Yeah,
the Comics Code Authority wasn't really an authority. It was just kind of like a self-policing sort of thing they did because I think there was a lot of people blaming, for a while, there were people blaming comic books for the corruption of our youth. So to get the government off comic books back. Yeah. So they sort of said, all right, we'll do this thing. We'll create the Comics Code Authority. We'll try to create our own personal guidelines so we don't earn the ire of the government and don't get censored or shut down or whatever, and so we can keep this art form going. But eventually it was always kind of toothless, and you could either get the stamp on it or not get the stamp of approval on it, and either way you could still get published. So eventually they just kind of said, all right, we're kind of done with that. More like within the last 15 years or so.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a whole other story.
Yeah, right. Okay, sorry.
So now I'm interested to see Black Widow.
Yeah.
It'll be like reverse.
So Elaine in this is very curious. I mean, she doesn't appear to be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Hydra, because Hydra is, what's the status of Hydra? We're not really sure. Like, it was supposed to be destroyed, and S.H.I.E.L.D. was supposed to be destroyed, but it's kind of exists in its own form. And what's the world like after the blip? What are these organizations like? Does she know Nick Fury, or is she a competing agent to Nick Fury? Is it a Hydra thing? Is she the power broker?
Things. Yes, that's what Gary say. She knows a lot of things because she's like, you did the right thing by taking the serum. Yeah, I know about that. And then she's like, don't worry, I also know you don't have the shit. Like, how do you know all these things, girl?
Yeah.
What if she's
and
the
is
power
she
broker?
working with Sharon Carter, who we found in this episode? It's hired Batroc to work with Carly.
Yeah.
So what the hell is Sharon doing? What's Sharon's game here? Is she the power broker, or are they working together? Are they both power broken?
Oh, maybe Elaine.
Are they working against each other? Who knows?
Maybe Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I should stop calling her Elaine. I should just call her Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But maybe she's the power broker. I didn't think about that.
I was like, why start now, though?
She might be.
Anyone by their name.
She might be.
Or you could call her from Veep.
Right.
I forget her character's name.
Or the New Memories of Old Christine.
Yeah. There was a tweet I saw from some dude who referred to it as the New Avengers of Old Christine.
Right.
I love it.
So she could be. We'll see. But I'm still doubling down on it's someone we know, potentially Sharon.
You know, now you say that, the New Avengers of Old Christine, maybe she's putting her own team together and starting with her own Captain America, which looks like in the teaser at the end of this episode, John Walker is so obsessed with being Captain America that he's hammering out his own shield, and he's gonna be U.S. agent, or maybe he'll call himself that. Maybe someone else will call him that, or maybe no one will call him that.
But he also, I
maybe he'll call himself the Captain.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna do something weird. But I think it'll be interesting. He obviously keeps telling everyone that dude is the one who killed his homie, but he didn't.
Yeah, that's right. He lied to Lamar's parents.
Mm-hmm. So I think he mentally has put a lot of pressure on himself. Not only is he cuckoo bananas because he took the damn serum, but I think he's said it in a few places in this episode where he is going to have no choice but to feel like he has to follow through and get Carly, because he keeps saying, I would never let the killer walk free.
Right. Even though he said that to sell the lie that he already did kill the killer, but now he's going to go try to do it himself.
Yeah.
So we got so many threads coming to a head, which is Yeah.
Who's the power broker? What is Walker about to do now? Is it really about to screw some things up? Is Sam about to take on the shield fully and step into that role? How is he going to deal with wrestling with who he has as the black man and Captain America in this stance?
Right.
Will we see Bucky again?
Yeah. And what does the Captain America uniform as designed by Wakanda look like?
Oh, yeah.
The comic books.
Or, I mean, how would Wakanda... I mean...
You don't think so?
I mean, it seems interesting. What would Wakanda's input, like their vision of America, what would that be to dress Sam as? Or will he not be Captain America? Will he just be the captain? Or will he be some other identity, some other mantle?
Well, they might not even say his name. Sort of like how, on certain ones, they actually don't utter their name. We're just like, you know who he is. But then he just,
maybe he'll let word of mouth spread out.
Right.
He's the real Captain America. He's the truth Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's possible because the government would be reluctant to call him Captain America, right? So it would have to be word of mouth or through other people. But I'm interested. We all know Wakanda's technology is some of the best ever. So I'm interested to see what that suit looks like. But I ended the episode, just kept thinking like, man, there's so many questions they've got to answer in just one more episode.
Yeah, but they can have that episode be as long as they want. They could do 90 minutes. If they could do a movie if they wanted to.
Yeah,
if they had the budget, I guess. So it's very curious as to.
I think the pacing of this show, to me, even as I'm watching it, like when it gets to the end, it's like I don't necessarily know I'm at the end, but then I also feel like I've watched a really long show. Like it doesn't seem as quick. I mean, it's not it's longer than WandaVision, but it doesn't seem like the episode ends too quick. I feel like you get the pacing is awesome.
You get a full episode,
right, and you get a lot of info.
Yeah.
So I think
sorry, my brain just went. One more unanswered question that I forgot about when I was spitting out unanswered question. Roll it back. Carly's homies were like, wait, what? What are we doing? Who are we working with now? So my other question is, will her OG homies follow through with her new mission?
Yeah.
Well, it looked like they started to because they invaded the GRC and they shut it down. And they're holding all the global restoration council, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But will they follow through with actual harm? I'm waiting to see.
Well,
if one or two of them will be like no and help, help the hero save the day.
And they're working with Batroc the Leaper, which is Batroc the Leaper is such a ridiculous character in the comics. He was just like an unbelievable French caricature. Just like, I shoot the Lord, sacre bleu. He was that kind of guy, and he had like this big villainous goatee thing with these big crazy mask on. So it's
have they reintroduced him in the modern era?
What's that?
Have they reintroduced him in the modern era?
They probably did. And I'm sure he looks exactly like he does in the movie now. but because comics kind of do that. But or at least for a while.
Let me ask you real quick. When you mentioned the modern era, Art, what is considered the start of the modern era again? When did it start? The 90s or the 2000s or?
Let's see. There's a silver. Yeah, I think it's probably 90s, 2000s, something like that. Okay. I'm not sure when they say the Silver Age. It's probably like there's the Golden Age back in the World War II-ish in the 40s. There's the Silver Age, which is like the beginning of Marvel, the Fantastic Four, the start of all that stuff. I guess the modern age would have probably been from like the mid 80s until
so the 80s.
And I don't know if they're calling now a new era or not.
That's what I want. That was my big question. Is like, are we in the same era now as we were in the 80s?
Looking.
Yeah, TBJ will find it.
Modern era started in 1985 to present.
Oh.
Yeah, that was like 85, 86 is when Dark Knight Returns started.
Silver, bronze, modern.
All right.
Gold, silver, bronze, modern.
All right, that really helps.
What's bronze considered?
Bronze is, Bronze is 1970 to 1984.
Okay.
Wow.
And then 85 till now is the modern era.
Yep.
I feel like at some point that's 40 years or so from 85.
Yes.
Well, it's probably time to cap.
They'll probably break it out. I think they tried to sort of start a heroic age or something. There was a Marvel series called that. So I don't know if they were trying to announce here's the start of a new age or not.
Yeah.
But, maybe we're in the midst of the start one, and when we look back in a couple of years, this time will be like that modern age will be amended to include some current.
We might not know until history happens.
Right. When I come back later in history, when I revisit this time.
Yeah.
You guys doubting my skills?
Not at all. I would never doubt the great TBJ.
Never doubt T to the BJ.
All right. And also, I think we need to talk about Isaiah Bradley.
Yes.
And that whole sequence with Sam, where Sam finally goes and finds out his full story.
Yes.
By the way, Carl Lumley, who plays Isaiah Bradley, was also the voice of the Martian Manhunter in the Justice League cartoon back in the day.
And he's also... He plays Martian Manhunter's dad on Supergirl.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yep.
Nice.
Is he? So he's a voice guy generally.
Maybe not generally, but
he does. He does.
Because he looks familiar to me.
You know where the gig is.
He looks familiar to me, but maybe it's just from a couple episodes back. It's one of those things where I can't remember, but he looks. I don't know. Anyway. I like him, and I like this whole thing. And right before you joined, Andy, since you came out a little bit late, we didn't record this, but I was saying to Tiffany how I thought of her. I think of her a lot, being that Tiffany was in the military. Mm-hmm. And that struggle, that's a real thing. Like, I agreed with everything he said.
Serving your country when your country doesn't adequately care for you or your people.
So I just want to listen to Tiffany talk about this, honestly. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about this, Tiffany, but like, I'm fascinated by
we can.
Yeah. Just that struggle.
No, we can.
Like you had to relate to what he was saying, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, and I think he says it too. Like when you start, you have an idealized version of what you're doing, right? You're going in, you're going to serve your country, and naively, I didn't even think of the racism and sexism that was going to come my way after joining. Like it didn't even occur to me how bad it would be ahead of time, because you go in, for me specifically, I went in post 9/11. So I lived through 9/11 and I went in the following year. So I knew what kind of world we were in. I was not naive about the state of the world or war or any of those things. And none of that scared me. I come from a long history of military service. But I get Isaiah's conversation, like you're in there and there is a lot that you sacrifice. Even if you never deploy, you are still sacrificing a lot of family time, distance, just sometimes your sanity to be a part of this thing,
right?
That is supposed to be an ultimate honor. But if you are a person of color, the way society sees you is not. Like, think real. If I ask you guys to picture a veteran, you guys are gonna picture an old white man with some wrinkles in his little baseball cap. Like, that's the first thing people think about when you think veterans. It's very rarely a person of color. It's very, very rarely someone not wrinkly, right? But you've got a large amount of veterans in the United States and a large amount who are people of color who come back to nothing. And so Isaiah's telling the story, like, I came back to nothing and I'm tired. Like, he's like, I don't want to be a part of your fight. And so it's a weird thing. You know, I'm still on the optimistic side. I still fight for a lot of things, not military related, but I use my voice here because I believe in better, even though the country hasn't been there yet. So I also see Sam's point of view where it's like his sister said, you have a mission to fight here and there. You have two places to be fighting, a front line and the mission, you know, home as a Black man. And she said, don't let one person, Isaiah, change your mind about that. Because she knows, and we've seen Sam is very country first. He is here, he is given his time and his self, and he's been the least bitter, right?
Yeah.
He after that bank incident, I'd have been bitter AF.
Yeah.
Like, let somebody, you know, I live in my home thanks to a VA loan, but let someone tell me, no, ma'am. I'd have been like, excuse me. I didn't, but like, I lost a whole marriage during the military. Don't tell me I didn't sacrifice life. But it's like, you want better for the place you live. And it's not as easy if there are people on the other side of the field who is like, just leave. This is just as much my country as it is anyone else's, whether you decide to treat me well or not.
Yeah.
I have stake in the game. I feel with Sam, there's stake in the game for me and my family and future generations. And you don't get to decide that we aren't worthy. And I think when, because I'm going to say when, there's no doubt he's going to take up the mantle. When Sam takes up the mantle, he is going to carry some of that with him. You don't get to decide that he is unworthy. Like, he gets to decide, just like he gave Bucky that speech.
Yeah.
To decide your worth.
I wanted to bring that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was all like, do the work. Do the work, be of service. That is the core. It's not fight the bad guys, it's be of service.
Nope. And I think that's Sam's core. And I think Sam's core is he is a man who cares about his country. He is a man that will fight for good and not just what someone else told him was good. Because again, you go back to that conversation with Carly, he's trying to help her get through some grief and talk her down. At this point, she's a little crazy now. I don't know if he can do that. His goal is not the actual fight. Even with John Walker, his goal is not the fight. Like, homie, this isn't you. We can make it better. And he didn't have an angle. When he's like, give me the shield, it's because you just murdered someone, dude. Not because I want your stanky shield. But John Walker was like, oh, this is what this is about. No, sir, it's not. It literally is. You were just caught on camera murdering someone with this thing. Please hand it here so we can fix it. Yeah. So I think Sam has a heart for his country, and there are a lot of veterans of color who do. Yeah. And maybe one country will.
Yeah, even when he had the shield, just seeing him trying to wipe the blood off the shield, you can see how he was kind of torn. Yeah, you know, because.
But like he said, he said the shield carries a complicated legacy. Mm-hmm. And I think that is it. And Bucky admits later, he said, Steve and I did not think about what that would mean to a person of color. We didn't understand that.
How could we? But and that's curious, like, just a little side note, that sort of is the first time we really know that Bucky knew that Steve wasn't coming back when he went to do his shit. Steve told him what he was planning. We didn't know that. We thought it was a surprise to everybody. Yeah. But in retrospect, Bucky is the first one who notices old Captain America on the bench at the end of Avengers Endgame. Right. So it's...
Spoiler, Andy.
Spoiler.
Joel forget.
Well, spoiler because
if you are listening to this,
I didn't remember what
this
you were
is for
even
anyone
talking about.
listening to us who's following along. It's okay, Joe. We don't expect you to pass the next quiz.
I will pass the quiz. I just wonder if I need to start putting.
Listen.
Do I need to start putting the word spoiler alert in our descriptions of our podcast? Oh, Arthur's got pissed.
I don't know. I feel like I think at this point most people have seen.
Yeah, it's
phase one has been phase one.
Like if you're listening
for
to a
10,000
podcast
years ago.
But we talk about Falcon Winter Soldier, which is kind of new. But I think if you're listening to a podcast about it, chances are you know that they're going to be talking about things that you know.
Yeah. You have some interest in the conversation.
It goes without saying, I don't think anyone's going to be super mad if they listen and go, I can't believe I listened to this podcast about this episode and you told me what happened in the episode. I'm mad about it.
Yeah, right.
How dare you?
Yeah. Well, we are.
But no, all that to say, Joe, is I get it.
Well,
I get
that's
Sam and I get Isaiah.
You've totally given me exactly just what I want. I just wanted to give you a moment to just put it all out there. And that was more than I expected, so that was perfect.
It's a complicated legacy.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
It's a complicated legacy.
Well,
even if you don't have Captain America to put on a uniform and be a color, it's a complicated legacy.
Well, and I love that Falcon Sam said at the end, because I was like, at the beginning of this episode, I was like, oh, he's not gonna do it, and he's right not to. I was like, fuck yeah, you're right. Fuck the stars in the stripes. I was getting pissed too with him. I was like, you're right. He's 100% right. Fuck this. And then when he finally, when he's convinced to do it by his sister, and he's like, you know what? He is bitter, and I understand. He's right. He's got a point, or whatever it was. I'm glad they put that part in there, just so it's like I'm not invalidating what this man's been through, and the Tuskegee shit. I mean, all that shit is like. It's amazing that people still, anybody of color who's still in the military is amazing. They're superheroes to me because they're still doing that despite all that.
I want to rewind to last week where the officer in uniform was pulled over by the cops and sprayed without having caused any incident. So if you're wondering, does being black in the military mean a damn thing to some Americans? It does not.
It does not.
That's a clear indication that we all saw. But people whose heart is for the mission isn't tied to the few people who are haters, essentially. If you are mission minded and you care and you're here to be a helper, like Mr. Rogers says, you find your help. Some people have that internal want to be the helpers. I mean, not all military people are good people. There are high cases of white supremacy in the military. But there are a lot of people who are there to be the helpers.
Yes.
And I think Sam is one of those people.
Yep.
And the legacy of this tarnished land, it's not like black people don't know how America came to be America.
Yeah.
We know we built it with our blood. But if you are a heart of service, you're going to do that anyway, but you are going to find a way to do it yourself. So when Sam steps up, he will not be Steve. Andy, you mentioned this too. We know that he will not do it the way Steve did it. He can't. Right. He can't be the all-American hero.
Yeah.
It's not who he is, but he will be an upstanding hero.
So will we get a scene of him in the new uniform and the shield storming into the bank being like, give me that motherfucking loan? Can we get that?
We can all hope.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious as to, because I feel like one of his first action, or maybe later actions, his first action will be to wrap up this whole Carly thing and deal with John Walker if he has to. One, I'm curious if America will nominate a third Captain America, like a replacement for John Walker, now that he's been court-martialed and he's going to show up or something. Or I feel like, Isaiah Bradley said, leave my name out of it, leave my name. They erased it already. But I feel like Sam will, even if he keeps his name out of it, he might expose the experiments. He might figure out a way to expose what actually happened and bring that truth to light.
That'd be good.
And that might sort of give him the credibility, or at least not that he needs much more of it, but if he's stepping up from Falcon in the general public eye to Captain America, leading with that sort of exposing that crime.
Yeah.
And as Captain America is coming forward and saying, this happened in America, it can never happen again.
Right.
That kind of puts him the next level, because I don't know how much Falcon has been for social change or anything like that. He's been doing his service. I don't know what the general public reception of Falcon is beyond that guy's pretty awesome.
Right.
That guy's famous.
It'll be interesting. Yeah.
So now putting him in the role of Captain America puts so much more responsibility on him.
Gives him a bigger platform.
It gives him a bigger platform too. It gives him power and platform and a voice louder than
makes him makes him a leader.
Yeah, but great platform comes great responsibility. No. So it'll be.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Do you guys?
So I'm very curious as to how if they'll keep up with this.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you guys.
We've got it.
Do you guys foresee a Sam Wilson, Captain America, and Joaquin Torres? Boom! Yes, Falcon in one of the movies coming up.
I would think so. I mean, Sam told Joaquin to keep the wings.
Yeah.
His old Falcon wings, and if he can fix him, and he seems like
he can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he might show up in the next episode, which would be interesting.
And if not this episode, I hope, back to what Art says, I hope we get another season and we get to see
Captain America and the Falcon has been the name of a long-running comic for a long time.
What has been? Captain America and Falcon?
Captain America and the Falcon. That could be season 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Bucky might do his own thing.
But Bucky and Winter Soldier wasn't a previous thing, right?
Like Bucky and the Winter Soldier? No.
I mean Bucky and what is it? Falcon and Winter Soldier? They weren't. Falcon and Winter Soldier wasn't a previous thing, is what I meant to say.
I don't think so. No, I mean they both were established characters, obviously,
right. But it wasn't. They weren't.
I don't know if they ever had their own series together.
Right. Yeah. So it was new to all you guys. Yeah. That's the thing for me. Like not being a comic guy, like I don't know what's a normal. So can you help me understand a little bit the confusion between the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character and why Art thought she was the same as somebody else? Like I didn't understand what the hell you guys were talking about.
Okay. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Dumb it down for me.
Season 4 or 5 or something, they did a whole thing where that basically their version of the Matrix, like a lot of the characters got plugged into this artificial reality called the Framework, in which Hydra had taken over the world.
Okay.
And it was all orchestrated by this life model decoy, aka robot duplicate of somebody named Ida.
Okay.
She was controlling it all, and she was Madam Hydra.
Okay.
In that world.
Okay.
And also Elaine Bennis's character,
yes,
Julia Louis Allegra de Fontaine Valentino,
the Countess.
Yeah,
you can call her Val, but don't call her Val.
Yeah, you can call me Val, but don't. Just put that in your head. I like that. And she was great, by the way. Just like she immediately dealt with the ridiculous mouthful that name is in the best way you could, and then sat down and was like, I know everything. I'm better than you. I get.
Can you talk about the card?
And the card that had nothing on it. I bet it's like, does it have nothing on it, or is it like is there a secret code, or will it self-destruct or something? That'd be interesting.
But that character also was called Miss Hydra or
Madam Hydra eventually. But those aren't the only two people that have ever been called Madam Hydra. There is another Viper who has been in the Serpent Society and stuff.
But
it's basically whoever
is Art might be right, but you think he might be wrong.
I don't think there's any reason to Contessa is a long established character since 1967.
Right. But the one that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not. That is not Contessa.
No, I don't think she ever was Contessa.
Okay, that was my question.
But
and that covers
it's Madam Hydra is the link Art was making, but I'm like Madam Hydra is a title. It's not a person.
Okay.
Well, see, and my reason for making a link is because we've seen in a previous series where Marvel has taken something from their universe and reintroduced it in another quote unquote universe and just totally either flipped it or changed it, but then it's kind of the same thing. So like mention like the Darkhold, like the Darkhold was in Runaways and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then but then also just tied it in,
and in
Leviathan, Leviathan, which is also something that Val has been a part of,
right?
Is a part of Agent Carter. So it's like, are they going to reintroduce?
So when you say they flip it, would you say they smack it up, flip it, and rub it down?
Rub it down. Oh yeah.
Oh no! It's oh no.
But you gotta say oh yeah. You gotta say oh yeah there. You
no.
gotta say oh yeah right there.
Flip it, rub it down.
And as soon as I knew where he was going, I was like,
I think we should get together and be like a new Bell Biv DeVoe.
That makes sense because
Tim
never
be our manager.
It makes sense because I've never trusted.
I don't know how much booking I can do for you.
I've never trusted a big button of smile, so that makes sense.
Listen.
Okay, the card. Back to
I must warn you.
All right. So basically, it's the fact that the Marvel Cinematic Universe tends to invalidate what happened on the TV stuff.
Which is not a bad thing.
Back to the card, the blank card. I love that. This is blank. Here's my card. There's nothing on it.
Well, because she didn't say call me. Notice her last line is the most smartest thing you'll ever do is answer my call. She didn't say she's giving him any information. I think that card was to shut his wife up.
Yes, AOC. His wife is AOC. He's married to AOC.
Nah, not really.
She looked a little bit like AOC.
I don't know. But how do you like Bucky flirting with Sarah?
Oh my God, it was so funny because you can instantly see it. The first time where Sam walks away and he turns around and goes, wait. Like that moment. That sounded too, hold on. And then later he's like, you can stay, but don't flirt with my sister. I am here for it. Because Bucky's always so closed off. If you remember the first episode, Bucky goes on a date and can barely communicate with
That's right.
So I'm also here for him potentially.
He got mad swagger now.
I'm here for it. Let it be, Sam. Let it be. Bucky is 106. Give him a girlfriend.
Like he can smile now. Like he feels comfortable here. Everyone's nice to him. He sleeps on the couch.
Yeah.
He had that moment, like right after we get Isaiah Bradley saying, "No self-respecting black man would want to wear that shield." We got like the two kids playing with the shield like it's a toy, like super excited to see it. So you kind of see the power of what that shield represents is still has an impact, and it's still something that Sam can take and direct. And that'll be very interesting to see how it happens, how it all shakes out in the last episode.
I love those
There's
kids.
A lot of blowing up going to happen. Yeah.
We got a lot to hear. Yeah.
But we haven't seen a whole lot of Eli Bradley, the grandson. I mean, he's been around, but you barely. I don't know if we've gotten like even a tight shot of his face at any point. He's always kind of like on the side, and that's the kid that's supposed to be one of the Young Avengers.
We did this episode.
Maybe that's on purpose, though.
We saw in this episode right before they went in, like he asked him where his dad was.
But Andy's saying there's no tight close-ups. There's no.
Yeah.
I think Andy, it might be a big ambiguous a little bit because it leaves room for them to play later. If they don't tight close-up on this actor, they can cast another actor if they need to later.
Right.
That's true.
Well, rumor.
They have enough for us to know that he existed and he was related to Isaiah. Like they have enough for us to know it's possible. Although it's not possible in the comics. I think they have enough to give us that, but they gave themselves a little wiggle room in case they need to recast, or he ages out, or he, quits.
That could be.
Hollywood.
Lil Nas X.
That's my theory.
Lil Nas X. That's my prediction. Lil Nas X will play.
Look, wow.
Put him in Marvel.
I don't know. Why not? He's like the hot.
He designed his own suit.
He's like the big deal right now.
I'm sure Mephisto would enjoy that if he shows up in Doctor Strange.
Right.
If he's getting lap dances to the devil.
Yeah.
Musicians or rappers make really good actors.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess.
Where we're like, no, thank you.
Well, he's got to be.
LL Cool J has done a phenomenal job of transitioning.
LL's good.
But he is a rare one. He is rare in his ability. I love Beyonce to death, but the first few Beyonce acting gigs, I was like, ooh, girl.
You didn't like Fighting Temptations?
It was cute to me because it's just cute, but not for her acting. I was not watching that one for her acting. Even there's about half of Dreamgirls where I can get down with her not being Beyonce and can see her. And it wasn't, maybe Cadillac Records is the first time I saw her acting. But that's just my stance against. There are some people who are triple threats and already triple threats. Tupac is another actor who was really good at rapping and acting.
Oh, yeah.
Performing arts high school. So
yeah, he went to
that's kind of what he did.
Yep.
So it's not always immediate that you can link the ability to sing and perform. Let me remind you, Britney Spears did a movie. That was a no-go.
We're going to record.
That's true. Now, is LL Cool J's in his 50s now, right? Can he still be the future of the funk?
Can he be the future of the funk?
I mean, he's definitely Uncle L, but I don't know if he's future of the funk anymore.
Okay.
He is Uncle L. It's time for him to pass the baton.
All right. Okay. That said, we got to get out of here because we're running out of time, and
I think we covered it all.
Yeah, we did. I know there's every day.
Yeah.
Every time we do this, the next day I think of 3 things I wish we would have talked about.
Well,
so
we'll just have to do like a wrap up one after we review the last one.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
one more episode left, and we'll do
the next one.
Yep.
But I really think we went over everything in this one. If you have random questions, they're going to be so random, Joe. I'd hate to see what they are.
Yeah. Not really questions, but
I think we touched on.
Yeah.
Like, is that a thing?
Yeah.
What about did we talk about John Walker real quick in the Insane? Him making his own shield.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah,
we briefly did. So these are we got to get going.
But Andy brought it up.
Yeah, we got John Walker, Sam Wilson as the new Cap. We got Bucky figured in there somehow. Zemo is out of the picture now. That was the scene with Zemo. We hadn't talked about that. Wakandans got him. I'm curious why the Wakandans would take him to the raft instead of to Wakanda for their own justice. But that's a whole
Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts are coming, I think.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be why.
All right. I love you guys. This is great. We got to go. Happy birthday to Art Star. Today's Art Star's birthday.
Is it?
Art Star's like, wait
but
a minute.
Is it though?
Yeah, you're 71
we'll
now.
catch you on the final episode.
Yep.
Gee, 71.
Yep.
We'll see you guys.
and this season of Nerd School is almost over. We got a couple more Avengers episodes and this one and another
Season 2.
Falcon one, and we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to get in the studio and record these from now on. Hopefully.
Yes, we'll be back in studio life.
Sound problems will hopefully be a thing of the past.
Nerds roll.
Excelsior.
Excelsior! Oh, my glasses are broken.
My pocket is protected.
Okay.
Rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems.
The Nerd School Podcast.
Nerd School is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improved.
You can't hear us, Andy? We can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, we can hear you, Andy. You stupid idiot.
Be nice to your brother, Joe.
No, it's so hard to. Like, we love calling each other names.
My sister
there we go.
and I are
Now
not
can you
like
hear
that.
us? You stupid idiot.
Yeah.
Joe's been
Yeah,
calling
sorry, guys.
bad names this whole time.
Tiffany and Art were just talking about what
Yeah.
a stupid idiot you are.
I'm pretty sure Andy knows that I am the least likely of two of us to do that for Andy. Now, if it was Art who was not here, that's a likely scenario.
Oh, come on.
Not to Andy.
It's always me, right?